Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is October 23rd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Check out our storm train. It is on the way. Powerful jet stream pointed across the Pacific Ocean, back towards British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest. Atmospheric river, windy conditions coming in Saturday, big waves. We got some colder air arriving as we go through this weekend. Could bring some upper elevation snowfall as well. So we're going to dive into all those details as we go through the video here this morning. There's our jet stream. Japan all the way to the left. Look at this thing just training across the Pacific Ocean, across the Gulf of Alaska, back into British Columbia. And that is our atmospheric river as we go on in through the day Friday. Windier system arrives Saturday, and potential additional systems as we go on in through next week. And kind of see that one. The Europeans been all over with that next week system on just the exact strength and placement of that low. But first things first, got a lot to worry about here in the meantime. Now, taking a look here, one question I get is atmospheric river and Pineapple Express, is that the same thing? Well, the short answer is yes. Atmospheric river is the scientific term for this phenomena moving into the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, the origination of where that atmospheric river kind of originates is, you can name it whatever you want. And if it comes from Hawaii, people were nicknaming that Pineapple Express. So it is just a nickname for an atmospheric river when people use the term Pineapple Express. And as you can see, these atmospheric rivers are always out there. They just get a bit more impactful as you move on in through the fall and the winter months. So high surf advisory for the Washington coast. I would consider this all the way down to the Oregon coast, Vancouver Island. They end this on Friday morning, and I hope they just leave this up for the entire weekend because it's definitely going to be warranted. You can see big breaking waves, 20 to 22 feet. I don't know who's swimming in that stuff or surfing in this stuff here coming up. I'm sure there's somebody crazy enough to try it, but do be careful if you're going out to the coastline here over the next few days. Now, taking a look here, we got rain, wind, mountain, snow. National Weather Service Portland getting ready with their graphics. Breezy conditions, big waves, a lot of precipitation. Clean your drains. It may seem silly, but you don't want that water coming fast and furious, skipping drains and going on into your neighbor's yards or your neighbor's yard, coming into your yard with some of that heavy rainfall rolling down the street and going into your basement or something like that. So things like that, clean out your gutters, secure items. Now is the time to do it. You still have some time before this arrives. And we do have some windy conditions coming in here as well. And Portland kind of highlighting that here on another graphic. You can see we're looking between the 10th and the 90th percentile of what is expected for Portland International. You see Eugene, some big wind gusts here on the higher end of things. Again, depending on just the track of this storm. And still, we are not sure where this is going to come in, but I'll show you the latest on that here more in a moment. You see Portland right around 45. That would cause some issues. A lot of leaves on trees, early season storm, probably going to be causing some power outages. So we have that to look forward to. Hazardous beach conditions Thursday through Sunday. I like how they extended this out through this weekend here. Big breaking waves, 28 feet. Beach erosion possible up and down the Oregon coast. Do not turn your back on the ocean. It is going to get very chaotic in the surf zone as you go through this weekend. Also, incoming wintry weather. We have periods of some snow for the higher terrain. And this is from National Weather Service, Medford, Oregon. I'll show you some of that here more in a moment as well. Now, I've extended this out 15 days, and you can see this goes through November 6th. Look at some of these huge amounts for British Columbia. I mean, Seattle, 5.5 inches of rain. Are you kidding me? This is just the ensemble mean as well. And you can see Portland up over 5 inches. Some of the coastal areas here, you're looking towards a foot or even more, 1.5 feet across portions of British Columbia. So yeah, very impactful precipitation amounts. The initial atmospheric river moving through is probably mostly beneficial here, but if we continue to get precipitation, as some of this comes fast and furious, we may have to start dealing with some flooding concerns. Now, people also ask this one too, is this a category 5, category 4, 2, 3, whatever, but you can see it's kind of a combination of category 4. The yellow is category 3, green is category 2, and again, returns to category 3 status across some of the Washington and Oregon coast. Atmospheric river scale based on integrated vapor transport and duration of that IVT over any given area. Now, taking a look here at the what is coming here, because I want to show you the pressure gradients tightening up as we go through very late tonight and Friday morning. And you got the chance for some of these little surface lows to ride up that baroclinic boundary and back up across the region. Can bring some locally windy conditions. And some of the coastal areas on the day Friday are showing gusts up over 50 miles per hour. So you can kind of see that slide through. Then you see the next storm system develop out there as we go through the day on Saturday. And we're looking at the European here on the left. The GFS is here on the right. We're getting some agreement on where this low is going to set up, but there's a pretty potent pressure gradient on the south side of the storm. And as we go on in through the day Saturday, you can see that setting up across portions of western Washington. The European, you're talking about 4, 8, maybe 10 millibars between Seattle and Portland. That's when things can start getting a little bit crazy with some of the wind speeds. And you see the GFS with the powerful pressure gradient on the south side there. So even though you're not looking at a 980, 970 millibar low or something like that, it's the pressure gradient that matters. And if this lines up right, you can definitely be doing enough damage to bring some power outages across the region. As we scroll off in through next week, something interesting showed up on last night's European model. Shows another low kind of right towards the Pacific Northwest. The GFS much farther west and much weaker with that system. Now, taking a look at the North American models, we're starting to get some of these shorter term models with, they're starting to come into range. And you can see that low moving across. You really got to watch out here. I mean, look at that pressure gradient setting up across portions of western Oregon. That would be problematic. You'd be getting some gusts up over 50 miles per hour in the Willamette Valley. You definitely have power outages from it. So we're starting to come into some agreement. But again, the strength and the exact position of this low are going to be kind of be varying here as we go on in towards the day tomorrow. We're going to have a better idea what's going to happen tomorrow, but still, we got to watch this kind of closely. Don't be lulled into a false sense of security just because that surface low isn't extremely deep. Now, if we take a look here at 925 millibars versus the North American model on the right. So I'm going to scroll out a little bit. We're going to go to Saturday's storm. And I'm going to stop it right about there. Actually, let's go a little bit further. And I'm going to show you, look at this bent back occlusion on the NAM, the North American model. A little bit further south, a little bit stronger pressure gradient, but much more impactful there for Western Oregon, although that would still be quite breezy here on the European model on the left. So it's these differences we're trying to watch here over the next day or two to pinpoint who's going to get what kind of wind. Now, also, I want to drive home this point as we go through the weekend. There is some higher elevation snowfall coming. You see, as we go through the day on Saturday night into Sunday morning, even Snoqualmie Pass could be getting a little bit of snow. Stevens Pass shows 3 inches. This is accumulated positive snow depth change in inches. So this is not a cherry-picked snow model. This is what the European expects will be on the ground. And as we go on in through Monday, you can kind of see some of the higher foothills may even get. You may drop that snow level below 3,000 feet, down towards 2,000 for some of the higher elevations there of western Washington. And even the coastal range here, Willapa Hills, a little dustiness snowfall, a nice shot of snowfall coming for the Olympics. And also east of the mountains, check out Spokane. Outlying areas, you could be getting some snowfall. When you get to the blue there, that's a couple inches of snowfall. Northeast Washington, watch out for the Rocky Mountains of Idaho on in through Montana as well, and some of Northeast Oregon. The terrain is higher out here also, so watch out for a couple inches of the white stuff there as we go on in through, what is that, Saturday night and on in through Sunday morning there. So be prepared for that. If you're driving across the passes, you may run into some wintry driving conditions. Now, there's a reason why I talked about that high surf advisory for the Washington coast. I wish they would just leave that up for the entire weekend, because as we go through the day tomorrow, actually today into tonight and through tomorrow, you can see the wave action arrive towards the coastline. And we go through Friday morning, you notice we really don't get that much of a break in that wave action before Saturday's storm starts ramping things up yet again. Some big waves on the day Saturday for the Oregon coast, and that's going to be spreading up to the Washington coast through Saturday night. So they should probably just leave that high surf advisory up all the way through this weekend, and then maybe on in through at least Monday morning, I would say. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Again, big wave action here over the next few days. So this is Hoquiam Airport there right on the Washington coast. You can see we've got some bigger ensemble member runs here. Again, depending on the exact track of this surface low as it moves across the area. And again, if it comes in just a few millibars deeper and this thing's a little bit stronger, it's a well-placed low, could really cause some issues. This is Friday's wind right there, and you can see some of these gusts up over 40 miles per hour, and then the potentially stronger storm on Saturday. Again, this is Hoquiam there towards the Washington coast. This is Portland International, 45 on the latest control run, but you can see some higher gusts are mixed in there. And sometimes the European underdoes some of these wind speeds And also, if that low is a little bit further south and a little stronger, you could easily be punching some of these gusts up over 50 miles per hour. Now, Spokane, you're looking at some breezy conditions, but nothing too extreme. You can see as you go through Saturday night into Sunday morning, some gusts mid upper 30s, it looks like, is what's being called for. Here's Bend, a little bit windier. You're getting some gusts up over 40 miles per hour, so heads up for that. There you go Friday night, and then eventually on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Now, this is across some of the higher terrain. If you're out in the Naches or out in the backcountry Pacific Coast Trail, you could be getting some gusts up over 50, 55, 60 miles per hour, depending on your exact elevation. So do be prepared for these stormy conditions, especially as you go on in through Saturday night into Sunday morning. Here's Boeing Field, 43 miles per hour on the latest control, but you can see there's a lot of ensemble members that have gusts up over 48 miles per hour, which would cause some problems for the city of Seattle. You start to get some power outages, and you can see the ensemble mean is squarely into the 40s there as well. And again, that's that Saturday system. Tillamook, Friday, atmospheric river right there, gusts up over 50 miles per hour possible, and then Saturday system there also. Now, something I want to show you here is percent of average precipitation. This is for Idaho, there's Oregon, and there's Washington. You can see Washington, especially Western Washington, Central Cascades, are not doing too hot. Some places between 5 and 25% of what you normally get over the last couple of months. A little bit better there for Eastern Washington, but you don't get as much precipitation there, so it's easier to skew these numbers. Now, looking at the drought monitor, you can see we've got some extreme, some severe, we got exceptional drought out there. We are pretty well locked in drought unless you are across portions of Eastern Oregon and Idaho and Montana, as well as some extreme drought out there also. So if we take a look here, I went out 3 years and looked at the departure from average, and you can see Western Washington is running a huge deficit, especially across the Cascades there. Some places up over 20 inches less than what you would expect over the last 3 years. So we need this precipitation. This has impacts on groundwater and stream flow and things like that. And it kind of wears on trees over a period of years when you're getting less precipitation than what they are used to. So hopefully we can, get a wet season in here, because we kind of desperately need it across the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, and westbound across the Olympic Peninsula as well. And you can see that big deficit across portions of Idaho Panhandle where they don't get as much precipitation. So that's kind of a big deal as well. But anyway, hope I didn't throw too much information your way. We're going to break this all down again tomorrow. Some of the high resolution models like the HER and the North American 3-kilometer model will start to come into range. We'll probably get some better model agreement on the exact track of that surface slope. But yeah, big rain incoming. The big winds are incoming. Some mountain snows as we go through the later portion of this weekend is probably incoming, with some of this chillier air moving back across the Pacific Northwest. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We'll do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.